Hello, let's solve pips. We've got 2 by Ian and 1 by Rodolfo today. We'll start with the easy puzzle. Let's place some dominoes. Okay, so we need 7. 7 can only be 4 and 3 in this puzzle. Oh, and then 3 will be 1, 2, because we won't be able to get a 3 over there. So we probably bridge these like this and then do that. And, whoops, that. Come on, just, there we go. And that. Okay, that was the easy puzzle. Let's move on to medium. Okay, we need a 1, and either the 1 connects down to the equivalence region or it goes across in some way, and then we need a double in the equivalence region, like this double 1, for instance. We also have a 3 that points down to avoid creating an odd number of cells over there. And greater than 4 is 5 or 6, which is currently not a big problem, but it needs to connect to something that we have 3 of. And that 3 thing has to have a double in it as well. So could 5, no, couldn't be this 5, 3. Could it be this 5, 6? No. Could it be this 6, 5? No. It looks like it needs to be 5, 1, actually. No, it could be, yeah, right. Our only double is this 1, isn't it? Yes, so that goes there, greater than 4, 5, 1. So that is that. So that means we can't put the double 1 down there, which means the 1 has to point down into a double, which means it's not this 1, 4, so it is this 1, 3. And then we still need a 3 pointing down into something we have 2 of, which could be 5s or 6s currently. The 9 is 6, 3, or 5, 4. Oh, and we're using a 3. Okay, we're using another 3 here. We're using 1, 3 here and 1, 3 in the 3 region. So that means we have no more 3s to use, which means the 9 is 5, 4. That's what that means. So I think what that means is we're going to put a 3, 6 down here so that we can connect 6, 5, and then, 4, 1, and then we finish the equivalence region with a 3, and that was the medium puzzle. Okay, let's move on to hard. Right, okay, so we need 6s in the 12. How many 6s do we have? We have 3. So this 10 could be, could it be double 5? Yes, we have 3 5s, and we do still have another 6, and a single 4. We also need 4 of something that includes a double at the over at the perimeter there. So it could be, and one of them connects to a 2. So the 2 needs to point into that. So it could be 2, 0 because we do have a double 0. Could be 2, 1 because we do have a double 1. And I think that's it. Couldn't be this 2, 2 because then we would need another double 2. And the 6 we don't have a double of. Yeah, so this 4-cell equivalence region is 1s or 0s, I believe. If it were 1s, how does that set us up for that 1 up there? We do have 5. We have 5 1s in total, so that is possible. That is possible. But we need another 4 of something down here. We need another 4 something down there, and if the 1 doesn't connect to whatever that is, it would need to point down, which would mean we'd need another doubled domino over there. And what are those? 0s, 1s, and 2s. However, if the 1 did connect, is that possible? Yeah, it could be, 1, 2, for instance. But anyway, I think I'm maybe getting ahead of myself. What about this 12? It will need to point down into the void with one of the 6s, and then the other one goes into the 7 or into the 4-cell equivalence region. We also have to make 4 and 4 cells, which is not easy. I think that becomes difficult. Let's just take a look at this quickly. If the 0s are all in here, or if most of the 0s are in there, I should say, then this would need to be this, because we couldn't put the 0, 6 pointing out there. Just trying to see if this takes away too many 0s. It actually looks like it could be okay. We could either, we could either put this here and then our last 0 up there. That would use one of our 6s, which is a bit tricky. Or we could put double 1 here and then put our final 1 up here. But at that point, we'd still have 4 2s for the equivalence region. This might end up being correct. I was doing this because I thought maybe it would actually be impossible, but it looks, in fact, possible. Right, okay. We can't make the 10 in a single domino, so one half of the 10 needs to point to the greater than 4. Oh, and actually, I think the only way to do that is with this 5 6, but it could be in either order. Could be this way or this way. If it were this way, we'd need the 5 pointing to the right because we don't have a 5 connected to a 2. Doesn't seem terribly difficult. If it were this way, we would need our 4. Once again, it would have to be pointing to the right. And that would be our only 4. Also doesn't seem amazingly tough. Our 7 could then not be 4 3, but it could still be, in theory, 6 1 or 2 5. Right, okay. This might actually be a decent counting candidate because it sort of feels, because there's so few possibilities for our 4-cell equivalence regions. I just don't really enjoy doing that, so I might see if I can get by without it. What is constraining us here? The 4. Well, this 4 needs a single domino here. I mean, that is true. But, we saw earlier that that's not necessarily all that difficult to achieve. What about, and I was going to say, what about our last 6? But we've got all these void cells. It could go in the 10 as well. Could even go in the 7. Sorry about this. What am I missing? I mean, is this important? Oh, well, right. Yeah, that is our last 6. Sorry. Yes, we know that the 6 is going to be used in one of these 2 configurations. So actually the 7, yeah, sorry, I already said that the 7 can't be 6 1. We already knew that. And there are a number of numbers that are going to be slightly difficult to place, like 5s. They'll have to end up going basically in voids. Some of them will anyway. How many 1s do we have again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we used all of our 1s in that one and one of these 2 4-cell equivalence regions, we would have no more 1s left to make the 4 region. That actually might be difficult. But we could use lots of 0s. But if we used also the 0s in the 2 4-cell equivalence regions, that actually would make the 4 completely impossible. Right. So our 2 4-cell equivalence regions cannot be 0s and 1s, because then we just wouldn't have I don't think we'd have enough to make the 4, because all of our 1s would be gone, and we'd have 1 0 left. Yeah, that wouldn't be possible. So one of these 2 4-cell equivalence regions needs to be something other than 0 or 1. And it's not this one over here. This has to be 0 or 1. So up here is not 0 or 1. Okay, that's a deduction. So what does that mean? It's 2s? I think 2s are maybe our only other option. Yeah, I think that's 2s up there. Okay, so either we've got a 1, 2, or we've got a double 2 up here. How many 2s do we have in total? 1, 2. We have 5 2s, so we only have one more 2 to use. We don't have a 6 2, so this 12 cannot bridge across that way, so it points down. Can't be the 6 0, and we know it can't be the 6 5, so I think it has to be this. I mean, this isn't real necessarily. So that's that. Our last 6 goes here. That's our last 0. I'm hoping I haven't made a logical error here. I might have done, but I can't think what it would be. Oh, wait, no. We do have a... Sorry, what did I say we didn't have a 6 2? Did I say that? I This has to be 2's up here, didn't it? Why did I think that couldn't go across? Sorry, that was a weird claim. This could go that way, surely. Then we could put 3, 4 in the 7. What was I thinking? Did I just say something completely unsupported and just glossed right past it? I think I might have. There's still 2 different ways we could do this. We could do that, or we could do that. Either way, the 2 needs to point down without breaking the 4. The toughest way to do that, I mean, this still might not be right. I just realized it's possible. Right, okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If this did point down, this would have to be a 5, obviously, of which we only have 2 possibilities. I think 3 is difficult, because if it points into the 4 region in some direction, then the only thing left that can go in the 4 region are 0s and 1s. A single 1 and 2 zeros. That's possible. That's impossible, right? Because then we couldn't make, this wouldn't have any candidates left. So that can't point down there with a 5, 3. It could be a 5, 1. So maybe this can't be 5, 3 in general, because it also can't point up here. So if this 6, 2 points down, then this is 5, 1. And it can't point up, so it would have to point into the 4 region. But, it could go across or down. That might not matter. Right. These are still just 2 thoughts, though. I haven't proven anything. Maybe this is time now to do the counting. Oh, I really don't like doing it. So we think this is 2's up here, and this is 0s or 1s. Oh, I'll do it. Okay, so what's our domino count? We've got 11, 17, 21, 27, 35, 42, 45, 46, 54, 56, 58. I think that's right. And then in the grid, we've got 10 plus greater than 4, which is at least 5. So 15, 17, 21, 28, 28, 40, 41. So, I mean, it's 41 plus, well, this is 2's, right? So that's actually, that's 49 total. And then this over here is either 0s or 1s. So that's adding either 0 or 4 to the count. So that makes the grid either 49 or 53, which gives us 5 left to play with in the void cells. Or it gives us 9 left to play with in the void cells if there's 0 over there. And that could be, that could be off by 1 depending on if this is the other way around. Is that great? Is that incredibly interesting and good information? Can't really tell if it is. It does seem a bit more difficult to add up to 9. Although we will have, well, no, maybe it's not hard, because we could have 2 5s to put in there. Maybe that is what we have to do. Because this one is 0. Yeah, maybe that is what we have to do. But that's too much, though. 2 5s is too much, isn't it? So maybe it's a 4? No. Sorry, I'm frying my own brain. This is horrible. This is embarrassing. Okay. So maybe maybe it is the smaller, actually the smaller number then that goes in the voids. Like this 3, which would make sense. And how many 2's do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one of the 2's would go in there. So maybe it is this. Oh, but now we've got this extra 5. Yeah, this doesn't feel correct at all. Oh, what we could do... No, I'm going to break everything that I just said if I start doing this. Well, no, because we could rearrange these. Yeah, but now I still feel like we don't have enough in the voids. This would have to be that. Yeah, this doesn't work at all. This is even worse. Yeah, I don't think I've learned enough about what to do with the voids. Okay, but I guess the other way to think about it based on the void differences is what difference it makes for what's over here. So if it's 1's over here, that means we're left with less to go into the voids, which makes sense because we'll have extra 0's. Sorry, I'm sure there was a much, much better way to do this, and I'm just confusing myself, which isn't helping anybody, certainly least of all myself. That would mean this 1 would have to go up here. This feels like it's going to break it, unless we put another 0 down there. Maybe that is what we'll end up doing. Is that possible? No, this doesn't work. Yeah, I'm really confusing myself at this point. Sorry, this is terrible. No one should be watching this, and I should not be doing it. I'm not sure what I've done. If I were doing this on paper, I think I would have a much easier time because I could sort of jot these things down, the different totals. I'm really bad at keeping them in my head, as you can tell. The sort of grid versus domino totals and what to do with that information. It's just not, it does not work well in my mind. I guess we can't waste any 2's, can we? Here it is. Right. So what? Sorry, what was in the voids then? 5. It was 8. Yeah, that actually makes sense. That makes sense. Sorry. I was thinking it was between. If the 0's were over here, I was putting a 1 in the wrong direction based on which way this 5-6 domino goes. But this makes sense because there's 50 in the grid because this greater than 4 is 6 rather than 5, and that's a difference of 8 between the grid and the dominoes of 58. This actually makes sense. This makes complete sense. I should have figured that out. Again, I'm very bad at keeping those relationships in my head. I was thinking it would be 9 or 10, but it was actually going to be 8 or 9. The void difference if it were 0's in this 4 region. Sorry. Anyway, I don't even know if what I'm saying makes any sense. It makes sense in my head now, but I got it confused. I was off by 1 in my mental arithmetic. All right. Anyway, there we go. Those were the poorly solved pips. Back tomorrow. Bye for now.